Video games, you know them, you love them, and if you're anything like me... Oh, wait, could you give me a second? Perfect. And if you're anything like me, well, you've probably heard some of the rumblings around the second Direct Showcase. And they aren't very pretty. Turns out, the Nintendo Switch and their games are going to be very expensive. Well, very expensive compared to what we expected. And it's left many to wonder. Are games getting more expensive? Is gaming as a hobby getting more expensive? And what does that mean for gamers going forward? Well, I suppose I'll sedate you with a little bit of B-roll while I chat away. Now, first things first, the Nintendo Switch 2 is $450. $500 if you want the Mario Kart bundle. And while I won't be the first person to say this, that's really pricey. That's at least a lot more than what I expected going into things. And unfortunately, it doesn't seem like we're at the end of things yet, because Nintendo recently put a delay on their pre-orders. Now, while I initially thought that this was a little bit more time for them to get their ducks in a row, I'm pretty sure now at least that this is extra time for them to react to the new tariffs put in place. The new tariffs, which are over 100%. Yikes. That means that this new $500 console theoretically could be hundreds of dollars more expensive. But I'm not so sure that things are actually going to work that way in reality. And this is because most consoles are sold at a loss. I mean, the most recent example being the PlayStation 5. That one, I believe, costs $700 to produce and $500 to purchase. And you might be wondering, well, why would someone do that? And it makes a lot of sense. If you can get someone into your ecosystem, you can get them buying your games. And the one big thing that's keeping everyone away from trying out your games is that initial asking price of the console. So, a company will reduce the cost of the console, take that loss, and then hope that you're going to end up buying enough games to make back up the money that was lost there. Whether that be over a couple months or maybe even a couple years. Unfortunately, this markup doesn't just impact the consoles, but any accessory Nintendo wants to sell as well. So that means any Pro Controller, any little camera thing they're making, I mean even the Joy-Cons, the basic Joy-Cons are going to be significantly more expensive to purchase. And even when you thought that was too much, we still haven't got to the software yet. The games, the lifeblood of the console. It's also going up. The usual 60 to 70 that we've become used to recently has now gone up to 80 to 90. $80 being for the digital copy and 90 being for the physical. And now all this stuff does sound pretty bad, a little scary, and for many it is bad. You know, this is the difference between whether or not they can and can't afford something, and that kind of sucks. But things do make a little bit more sense then when you put inflation into perspective. Looking back to 2017 when the Switch originally launched, that console started out at $300, and I believe today that $300 is worth like $388. I did the math earlier, but it's not coming to mind the exact number. And when we look at the games as well, $60 in 2017 in today's cash is 77, 76, just about 80. It really makes things make a little more sense at least. Like, it's not all needless price increases. Well, before you factor in the tariffs, I mean, which in that case, yeah, I think we can all say that's pretty needless. Things get even more interesting when you look back further in the past, specifically during the N64 generation. The games equivalently were worth like $150 in today's cash. Isn't that crazy? I mean, think about that. $150 for a video game. I mean, the idea sounds crazy today, but over time, with the expansion of the gaming market with more consumers, Nintendo was allowed to shrink the cost a little bit, bite the bullet there because more people were buying into it. And I say allowed, but I really should say forced to, because N64 games did not sell very well, at least not to the current standards and expectations at the time. So while we're not going back to the $150 price tag, this new $80, $90 standard is obviously more expensive, even if, when factored for inflation, it's roughly the same as, what we were paying in 2017. Wages have not grown enough to counteract the degradation of the value of our money. So, are consumers really going to come out in droves and buy these more expensive Nintendo games, or are they going to choose to spend that money elsewhere instead? You see, and then we have the real travesty. The $6 demonstration game. I mean, by all means, this is a game demo. It is demonstrating the capabilities of the console. There really isn't much there. It's cute, you know, it looks whatever. But they're selling it for $6. How hard is it to make a pack-in? Like, it's $6. You're not even making much money off of it. Did we really have to do this? I mean, whatever. Because at the same time, even developing games is more expensive. It's not just the price of games going up for the consumers. Game development has gotten extremely bloated these days. Like, I'm talking half a decade in production or more, you know, sometimes more, hundreds of millions of dollars down the drain, thousands of people working on a single title, and if it doesn't succeed, it's like doom for the company. I mean, we've seen it all with Warner recently, with a couple of their games doing pretty poorly, which results in games being expensive and pretty safe, and safe in a bad way. I mean, they don't take risks, they aren't very exciting, innovative. It's very cookie cutter because they have to play it safe. I mean, these are the kind of games that will sink a company if they don't do well. Now, what's the solution to this? Well, I would say going indie. I mean, doesn't really fix a lot of issues today, but if you want to save a couple bucks, buy indie games. Smaller games that have a more focused vision made by smaller teams of people are cheaper and very, very often very good. I mean, if you analyze the cultural impact of a lot of the games that have come out recently, what are the games people hear about? Repo, Lethal Company, that's another one. You can go back, like, say, Among Us, Undertale, Deltarune, whatever. You know, there's a bunch out there that I'm not thinking of at the moment. But those games are having the biggest impact right now, and they're the cheapest, and they're just pure fun. Like, they're allowed to do things that bigger games can't, because it's a risk that they can't take. Okay, so indie game glazing tangent aside, I really brought that up because I'm kind of worried at this point about the state of AAA gaming. Since Nintendo, you know, brought their games up to like $80 and $90, you just know, like the floodgates are wide open. Games are gonna start going up. The standards are kind of broken. I mean, we didn't even have the new $70 standard for very long before we're jumping up to this. And like, it's understandable that like Nintendo and like some game companies who are making like really, really good gaming experiences are gonna have like their games to be a little bit more expensive. But you already know that like a lot of the worst gaming experiences out there are also gonna hop onto that like really expensive price increase train. Like, for instance, the first game to hop back on to $70 as a price tag was NBA 2K21. I don't think I could think of a worse game to cost $70, to like jump the gap to a new price point. A fucking basketball NBA 2K game, really. And you just know that next year with the new NBA or whatever game that's going to be kind of garbage, they're going to be the first to hop on it. They're going to be like, oh yeah, here, $80, $90, we're doing this now? By all means. And it just sucks. Because worse games, safer games, more boring games that come out really bugged, really crappy, are going to be even more expensive now and are going to require like a day one patch and like a 6-month patch and like a check-in 1 year later with another big patch before they're finally playable, and they're going to be more expensive than ever before. And you know, I think I've been harping on Nintendo a little bit too long here. The thing is, these tariffs, what's going on right now, it's going to affect the entire industry. It doesn't matter what you play on, you know, whether that's console, you know, PlayStation or Xbox or PC, you know, it's all going to be very expensive because everything's produced in China. You know, your consoles, like your controllers, headphones, keyboard, mice, oh my god, graphics cards. Like, I can't even imagine what a 5090 is going to cost, you know, 30 days from now, a year from now? Like, what is going to happen with that? Gaming is going to be extremely inaccessible to get into. And even if you're already into the hobby, the games themselves are going to be a decent portion more expensive in a time where people might not be able to afford to dish out, you know, $80 or $90 for a video game. Now, this is all to say that I think the next couple years in the gaming sphere are going to be a little scarce. People are not going to be able to buy as many games, at least not AAA. They're not going to be able to buy as many consoles. I don't think the Nintendo Switch 2, at whatever price point is possibly going to come out with, I don't think it's going to do very well. Not nearly as good as the original Switch, at least, because your average person is not going to have enough money. They're not going to have nearly enough money to buy what they want to buy, and that sucks. Now, of course, I also think that it's not going to be like this forever. I mean, the current system, like political economic system as a whole, is unsustainable, but also the gaming industry will not be able to continue like this. You know, the next console might end up being cheaper. You know, if things don't change at a grander scale, they might make the next console cheaper. Games might shift back down a little bit. Maybe the games studios will shift to a smaller size to make cheaper games. I don't know how long this will last. I just hope that it's not for long. And yeah, I guess that's about everything then. You know, this video was a little more off the cuff. I just really wanted to get something out there, and a lot of people were talking about this, and a lot of people are very like doom and gloom. I wouldn't even say doom and gloom. A lot of people are just very angry at Nintendo, and I understand it. You know, these are very trying times, and things are uncertain, and you see this like new big thing, and it's really expensive, and it just sucks that we possibly might not be able to get our hands on it. I don't think I will be able to. I wanted to buy the Switch 2, but I don't think I can get it. And it's kind of culminating in just like a lot of anger and frustration online, and I understand. I do. I hope you enjoyed what I had to say, and I hope maybe I can catch you at the next video I make, which will be soon. TM. Soonish. More scripted, more editing, more better, more gooder. Yeah. And since I still got you here, might as well check out this sweet outro.